Welcome back to Talking Through Your Kick, brought to you by puntersparadise.com.au and, of course, centrebet.com. At TVNTTYK is our Twitter account, at TVNTTKY, whatever it is. TTYK at TVN.com.au is
the millennium bug.
is the email address. Rightio, three of the social media topics that have been coming this week is, I'll have a look at these ones. The first one is, what about this? This has got to be the best of all time. From theprofits.com.au, never blame a jockey for the horse losing. OK, I don't blame the bloke that robs the bank either. Don't blame a jockey for the horse losing, Brent, on the proviso if it was a bad ride.
Yeah, that's certainly the case, but I can't agree there with that tweet. Sometimes jockeys themselves put their hands up and say it was a bad ride, that horse should have won or should have done this or should have done that. There's certainly an element in blaming a jockey when they've done the wrong thing. Oh,
and as I come to you, Michael, like, don't blame Hawkins if Geelong gets beaten, he kicks, no goals, 17 behinds from all in front. Like, is this bloke on Twitter kidding?
Well, who else are the punters going to blame? Because it's never your fault if you get done, so we've got to blame someone. In racing, it's got to be the jockey or the trainer, and if it's in football or the NRL, it's got to be the players. We've never done anything wrong.
If a bloke misses a tackle, it's his fault. If you kick it incorrectly, it's wrong. If you ride a poor race, it's wrong. I'll tell you what, your philosophy, sir, I love it. If I tip 6 losers in a row, don't blame me. Blame the horse blame the horse for going too slow. Fair dinkum. I can't believe we can put that up. Rightio, the next one. This is for you, Nick, from Chris McInerney. What now for Helmet? Would that send him back to Australia for spring? Seem well below his best. I reckon he's going to somewhere where you'd like to be going. Stud.
Solid as a marshmallow, Brent Seraffa, just stitching me up there, making the comparison between my hair and a helmet again. So that's very good, Brenny boy. Retribution will be beautiful. Helmet, he's gone, he's finished. He's not the same horse, but he's going to retire to stud. But very disappointing to see how poorly he performed overseas. And that brilliant Caulfield Guineas where he beat Manawanui, I hate to say it, but I think it broke both horses. I don't think either of them won since. Well, Manawanui won one start next, and they both didn't win in the autumn, so that really was a gut buster for both horses.
Don't write Manawanui off just yet. We may see him back in good form in the spring.
I agree with you, Michael, but I agree with Nick also that I think that run did both of them damage, there's no doubt. That was one of the great battles. I was there at Caulfield that day. It was a huge battle. What about this one from @DC? What's your take on fixed odds versus tote odds? Seems to confuse punters more. What, having the choice to win more or lose? Your thoughts, Brent?
Yeah, I'm certainly not confused between taking a decision between the tote and the fixed prices. It's pretty simple. You have a look, you weigh it up. If there's a better value there at a fixed price, you take it. And if there's a better value on the tote, you take that. Obviously, there's a bit of fluctuation that can do in the last couple of minutes of betting, but you've got to make a judgment call whether you think the horse is going to be backed or you think there's going to be a flood of money coming for it late. It's all about sort of reading the market and reading the actual individual race.
And I'll give a tip for DC. If a horse is, say, $4.60 into $2.90 and it's $3.20 a minute before they jump, don't think it's going to hold up at the $3.20. Otherwise, you'll believe John Daly's in the bar, but he's actually drinking water. Like, it's going to crunch and it's going to get shorter. There's no doubt about that. Rightio, the next one we're going to talk about is favourite all-time race mares, and geez, there's been some champions, and of course I know when Michael was a young fella punting, he used to follow Emancipation, but what's your favourite race mares, Brent?
Well, giving away my age here, I'm going with Tuesday Joy. I think she's a favourite mare of mine. Followed her career right virtually from day one, and she had a lot of knockers early on, sort of her 2-3-year-old campaign, saying that she wasn't up to sort of scratch, but once she developed into a proper mare, geez, she was fantastic.
I agree with you. I remember when she won the Coolmore, it was outstanding. Feldgate or Michael, favourite mares?
You can call me Feldgate, mate.
It just sounds like out of the Seinfeld episode. What is it? Feldman. Yes, what are you talking about? What do you want? What's your favourite mare?
Richie, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of great mares, and you mentioned Emancipation. I wasn't quite old enough to watch her growing up, but another grey in Sydney who I used to love was Ricochet Rosie. She was a beauty for me. But the one I've settled on, and it is because we're talking through our kick, is Typhoon Tracy. She was a great mare for Peter Moody, probably the best mare he had until another one called Black Caviar came along. She won 6 Group 1s, 10 races from 16 starts. I was lucky enough to find her early on, and she put about 6 in a row, so it was very handy for the bank balance. And an honourable mention to Bruce McAvaney's favourite horse, Special.
Most definitely. Oh, special. Special Bruce. Special Brucey boy. Nick, you're a young fella. What's your favourite? Black Caviar?
No, the favourite's got to be Makybe Diva. She was just unbelievable. She brought people to the races. She just did it every start. And she was always backable as well. People forget how good a price she went round. She was as much as $6 in her third Melbourne Cup. What I wouldn't give for that to come round again. She was immoral. But the other one, little special mention to her, an obscure one, Mango Daiquiri, trained by Paddy Carey. I loved her. She didn't always love me back, but she was one that will always have a special place in my heart.
It's just because it's your favourite drink.
My favourite's a horse called Rolling Stock. I was building my house and I went down to Backer at Mornington. I got down there and the thing of Pat Carey's, what was in the light blue colours? It won
I'm not sure. I don't remember races from Mornington.
The Group 1 of Pat Carey's not long ago, and they put up 11-2. Greg Childs.
Ethiopia.
And they put up 11-2. It was off the map in a 6-4. Mine got out to $11 and still won. Pat Carey's mare. Not long ago in the light blue colours. I'll get back to you in a second. Right, let's have a look at what a few of the punters have said on the forum. Let's Elope from Extra Gain. Let's Elope and recently Lights of Heaven skating at 23-1 in the Doncaster. Tell you what, all good mares, Brent.
Yeah, certainly. Lights of Heaven was one of the best, and there's certainly one here from Gartman. You've seen there on the Punters Paradise Forum. Sunline, for me, broke the hearts with some dominant leading wins. Well, we didn't give a mention in the previous segment when we were going through ours, but gee, she was a good mare.
And Goldacova from Leipau won 14 Group 1s in total, and they came from everywhere, France, England and the US, to beat a Goldacova. She was a superstar.
It certainly shows what we've seen with Black Caviar also going to Royal Ascot, how hard it is to travel. And you look at a little mare like Goldacova, she wasn't big in stature, but as that punter said, did it in USA, France and also England.
Now, our next topic, and look, I don't totally understand this, favourite punting days. Well, every day you win. Wouldn't that be that's the topic, of favourite punting days. Is that fair enough, Michael? Nick, isn't it just every day you win?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a favourite punting day for everyone out there, especially if you can get the cash out of us at Centrebet. I've come up with one, though, which isn't probably the most popular day of the year where it comes quality of horse. It's at the end of the Spring Carnival, Sandown Classic Day, or as it's now known, Zipping Classic Day. And it's purely because I think it's the best day to try and find a winner. Throughout the Spring Carnival, the 4 days of Flemington, big fields, all good horses in good form. It's hard to find a winner. When it comes to the Sandown Classic Day, I think the cream rises to the top and you can actually find a winner a bit easier.
Fair enough. What about you, Nick? What's your favourite day?
Without a shadow of a doubt, it's Caulfield Guineas Day. If you don't win Caulfield Guineas Day, you're just not trying. They give it away. All the favourites seem to lob. You can take your doubles and your trebles and you're all up, and everyone walks out of Caulfield very jolly.
Oh, if only it was even... Now, I'm going to get back to my other thing. It's not Pat Carey, it was Pat Hyland that trained this mare. Zarita. There we go.
Zarita.
No wonder I didn't know you. You're giving me the wrong trainer.
I gave you the wrong trainer. It was 11-2 to 6-4 at Mornington one day, and Rolling Stock beat a filly that I was in with the McDonald's. Brent, favourite day?
I'd have to say Epsom Handicap Day. I love watching the new two-year-olds come through. You've got the Jim Crack, the Breeders' Plate. There's also the Metropolitan on that day. I think it's one of the best punting days in Sydney.
My favourite punting day, Wagga Plate Day. Rightio, let's have a look at a few of the punters said on the forum. Every day with a Y in it, that's most days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way through. I love that. Yeah, I bet you're a punter. God bless you. So round 12, Derby Day. My silly mate got married on Derby Day. Well, how's he still your mate? Every year he has to think about his anniversary present before the punt. Well, so that's just, I'm not being, that's selfish. That's selfish getting married on a race day.
And especially if you're in the bridal party, you'd have to give away, you'd have to go do all the ceremony, you'd be ducking out.
Mate of mine got married on Epsom Day and we stopped the service halfway through so we could listen to Falonte. Slipper Day is always good, 5 Group 1s. See, they're talking about the picture, the beautiful, the horses exposed, big fields and big odds. I'm talking about the days that you just win. I got married, Michael, at Rose Hill on a Sunday. And my old man got out of the car and I got married in the parade ring. Everyone was supposed to walk downstairs for the ceremony. My old man went to the right. My mother yelled out, "Ken, downstairs." He said, "I'm going to go and check the scratchings. I don't think she's coming."
How many times have you wheeled that perler out?
She turned up and she's absolutely been blessed ever since, my beautiful wife. Been happily married 2 years, not too bad out of 12. Rightio, the next one we're going to talk about is race tracks you never win at, Brent.
I don't seem to have much luck at Caulfield. I seem to, if the pace is on, my horse doesn't swoop. If I'm on a swooper, the fence is on fire. I can just never have any luck at Caulfield.
I never have a lot of track. Gilgandra is always a bogey track for me. Michael?
Canterbury's a tough one for me. Whether it's a leaders track, you've got to be up on the pace, or those Canterbury night meetings, I always tend to pull the wrong range. So a bit of a bogey track for me.
Yeah, that's your bad work. I love Canterbury. Lock it in. Nick, tell you what, at least you've got one bloke who would have to spend a lot of time on this because you punt on every track.
Yeah, I'd have to say the Vale. Very hard to find a winner there. They seem to sort of come down all parts of the track. And no winning punter has ever bet at the Vale. No one says, I'm going to back a few more at the Vale. So the Vale's got me a couple of times. But one day where I just cannot tip a winner. The last winner I tipped on Melbourne Cup Day was Makybe Diva. And it's the one day of the year where everyone wants a tip. You know, people that don't normally follow the races want a tip. Girls that wouldn't normally talk to you in a nightclub are text messaging and trying to find a winner. And hopeless. Can't pick my nose on Cup Day.
And then they brush you straight after the race day. The big Basil brush. What about our viewers on the puntersparadise.com.au? I generally avoid Brisbane like the plague always seems to make my Maldies come undone. It's a fair call from Fat Chester. My full brother. I avoid South Island, New Zealand. What are you doing even looking at as much as possible? Most of the country tracks are like farm paddocks. I reckon a couple of times they just race in the farm paddocks. I reckon I've seen a couple of cows.
Rotorua is a tough track to read.
I reckon a couple of times on those tracks in the country ones, I reckon I've seen cows on the racetrack.
It's good to see that our punters watching Talking Through the Kick are very versatile. We get to Vale, we get to New Zealand, we get all over the place. It's fantastic.
Oh, when Nick was saying Vale, I reckon a couple of punters going, yeah, I'm with you there, brother. I'm with you.
Nothing like it at 1:30 in the morning when you're just trying to get out.
Yeah, I know. One of my favourites, I must admit, I've had a bit of luck, is that red car. Rightio, we're taking a break. This is Talking Through Your Kick. We're back on the other side. Welcome back to Talking Through Your Kick, brought to you by centrebet.com. And we've got Michael Felgate and Nick Quinn in Melbourne and Brent Zarafa and I in Sydney studio. And one of the things we're going to talk about is betting strategies that have come up on the social media this week, boys. And the first one is multiples. Multiple betting is an easy way to give back your winnings, multiples. Just one thing, a bookmaker used to always say to me, only one thing better than a punter taking a double. A punter taking a treble. Yeah,
they certainly are bookmakers' friends, the multiples. But I enjoy taking them. It's not always because it's the most profitable form of punting, but you can have a smaller outlay and the hope of a big result. I haven't always had the most luck with them, but I certainly do enjoy taking them.
That's the problem that a lot of punters don't, and that's why Michael at centrebet.com, you always give that little bit of a bonus on top of if you get four or five legs up, because we don't often do it.
Yeah, it's a good way, as what Brent said, for the punters to have a small invest for the dream of a big outcome, and that's what keeps getting me back involved with the multis. And with the new Centrebet website as well, nowadays you can do multis across racing and in sports. And I'll tell you what, especially in football like the AFL and NRL, it's a lot easier to get a multi up because you've got such short price favourites when it's only a two-horse race, and that is a good way to accumulate a decent dividend of what would normally be pretty short price favourites.
Yeah, exactly right. Nick, you'd believe that when you throw Usain Bolt in at $1.05 in the multi last week.
Now, we're moving on from that, OK? We're slowly recovering. Gordon Greco said that greed is good. On the punt, that's not the case. If you like three things, you back the three things, you might have $10 on all of them, then take a little double or treble, spending, milk money, $2, maybe $5. So if all the stars align, you've had a fill up. But then if you back two of the three winners, you're going to win on the punt, as opposed to, I got 2 out of 3 on my multi and giving bookmakers more money.
But then again, Meatloaf said 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
You got to dream big to make big, Nick.
Yeah, and then again, lately, you can't really understand anything that Meatloaf's been saying. Rightio, what about quaddies? What are the quaddie theories, Brent? You got any theory on quaddies? I usually take one quaddie for, say, $5, and then I take one for a smaller percentage. But if I get too many horses in there that I've priced, I don't take one.
Yeah, well, I like to if I'm taking a quaddie, I'll try and dissect it down to 1 or 2 legs where I can sort of nail it to 2 or 3 selections, and then I'll just go field in the others and not even really, and just hope for the value, because for me, to get a good result out of a quaddie, you need that big dividend, and obviously the big dividend doesn't come from a horse you like on form. So try to nail 1 or 2 legs, field the rest.
Michael, some punters go fat early, skinny late. Some other punters go skinny early, fat late.
Yeah, it all depends on the race meeting, doesn't it? I mean, if you've got a field of 18 in the first leg and a field of 8 in the last leg, it depends what horses are running. But the one tip I usually do if I'm putting them on for a group of mates or a punters club is make sure you go very wide early. There's nothing worse if you're constructing a quaddie for a group of mates, you're in charge of the money and you go out clean bowled first leg.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling, is it? It's no good when there's 18. Kathy O'Hara's my bogey. If I leave Kathy O'Hara out of the first leg, thank you, punters. She just rides the first leg winner, no matter what the price. Nick, any theories? Well, no doubt you've got one or two.
At least you get to interview Kathy after the race, so it's not all bad. With my quaddies, I only take up to 4 horses, and then if I can't get it within 4, I take the field. So it might be I take 3 in every leg, I might take 2 in every leg, or I might take, a couple of ones and a few fields. So back yourself, and if you don't think you can find the winner within 4, it's an open race, so take your field and hope for the best.
And how's that theory stood you in the last couple of years, Nick?
I've had a little bit of joy from time to time. If you can really identify the legs where you do like horses and then hope to hit a $257 winner in the other leg and hope for the best.
You should see the engagement ring he bought for the missus. He's been doing quite well, and apparently it's a big lavish wedding planned as well.
No surprise there, Michael.
Converters.
He's not spending it on shirt and ties. I remember seeing those ties when my grandfather went off the war back in 1913. Let's have a look at one of our tweets that's come in. Stokesy 24. I wonder if it's Kerry Stokes. Must do. No, $2, not Kerry. $2, 1 out of quaddie. Always a daily double. If at the races for social, all bets on in morning, then relax. Oh, no. You can't bet in the morning too much because then you're locked in. I've found this. I bet early and I do, Brett, but sometimes you're locked in and then the pattern of the day, like Michael spoke earlier, it changes.
And the weather's a big thing. You could be in Sydney or
Particularly
Melbourne. Yeah, completely. Sydney or Melbourne, and it's a dry, sunny day, and then you get to race 7, it's race 6, and it's raining cats and dogs, and all of a sudden you've got certain horses that had a chance and no chance. You got track bias, everything else like that. Yeah, I don't lock in my bets too early.
I sent my girls out a couple of weeks ago in Melbourne with their swimmers on. They come back quarter an hour wet. They said, Dad, it was raining. I said, I didn't even get to the pool. Oh, unbelievable. The weather can change down there, Michael. What about your theory on that with the betting early?
Oh, look, it's a difficult one. Like, it's nice if you can shop early and get a good price, and then there's nothing worse if you take what you think's a good price and then later in the day you see it winding out 3 or 4 points. And as you said, the pattern of the day, if you're going to have a big day with your mates on the drink, maybe put your bets on a bit early because you can get a bit loose and wild during the day. But if you're going out there normally, I'd be having bets during the day because, as you said, what occurs closer to start time, you've usually got more knowledge.
Yeah, the good thing is, Nick, if you're drinking during the day, the alcohol helps you calculate odds. It makes it easier for you as a punter.
And it also gives you more confidence too. You're like, what? No, these things are moral, I'm going to have more on. So I don't see any potential problems in doing that.
Oh, yeah, mate. I've strutted back into my joint, so I'm going to give it to my missus tonight. I'm going to tell her who's in charge when I've had a few drinks. Needless to say that it gets pretty cold out in the backyard. If you want to get us here at Talkin Thru Your Kick, of course, the email address is... Let me get it. It is puntersparadise.com.au is where all the forum is. puntersparadise.com.au. Of course, it's ttyk@tvn.com.au, ttyk@tvn.com.au, or Twitter @tvnttyk@tvntt. You know what reminds me of all the TTs? One was a racehorse, one was 2. You know what?
Oh, I remember that one.
One was a racehorse, 2 was 1 2, 1 race, and 2 1 2. Talking through your kick. We're back on the other side. We're going to talk about sport, and what we're doing is talking through your kick.